Who am I? I look back at my life and there's a thread, a quiet essence running through it all. But day to day, season to season, I shift. One moment I'm driven, the next I'm restless. Sometimes I seek wisdom, other times I crave indulgence. The self, myself, it's not a singular thing. It's a battleground of instincts, archetypes, and desires all vying for control. As Ken Wilber said in The Theory of Everything, quote, "It appears the self is not a monolithic entity, but rather a society of selves with a center of gravity." And this is why happiness is so rare for more complex souls, at least at first. They have a legion of selves or a legion of instincts at war with each other. And even for very developed people, this society of selves, this war, is largely unconscious. And as Carl Jung said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Some of my dominant selves are the serene inner child who finds joy in a snowfall in a quiet evening, the seeker of God who yearns for truth and transcendence, and his shadow, which is Lucifer the addict, I call him, who seeks peak experiences. I have an ambitious one who desires genius and greatness, and the self-destroyer, the shadow side of ambition. There's the leader who embodies power and vision and brotherhood. And then there's the judge, who's heavy with pride and rigidity. I have a lover inside of me, a wild wolf, a lazy one, a student, and so many others. I've been aware of archetypes for many years. Many books have been written about them, but it's a whole different ballgame when I started to give names to my angels and demons, when I really started to notice these different impulses all living within my chest. These forces listed above cycle through me, through my waking life and dreams, and oftentimes, as I become more aware, they seem to shift hour by hour. Within all of these voices, yes, there is a center of gravity, a north star guiding my life, and organizing these forces towards it has been a wild and chaotic journey. Becoming, quote, who you are means letting each part be whole and integrated. Let me repeat that. Becoming who you are means letting each part of you be whole and integrated. And goddamn, that feels impossible some days. My ego, made up of all of these parts, likes certain states more than others. He is eager for certain experiences, impatient, too rigid. He wants the dream now. The ambitious part of me too often denies leisure and denies my serene inner child. The self-destroyer or the addict often overcomes the lover. Hence, my life has been a long war between contrary instincts. But this tension is oh so beautiful, especially as I now start to bring it into harmony. I'm realizing inner tension, the tension between opposing parts, is what gives rise to music, when the parts are tuned correctly. And that brings us to part 2, Nietzsche and a Unifying Life Project. If you want this essay and my other personal essays, you can subscribe to my Substack down below in the description. The idea of inner tension was central to Nietzsche's worldview. A higher type to Nietzsche is someone who has many strong instincts, i.e., not just the instinct to write good books or be a great baseball player, but the instincts to push the boundaries of science, create great works of art, party hard, climb mountains, lead a tribe, and fish by a quiet river. All of these burn, only equaled perhaps by his apathy and laziness to do nothing. A higher type isn't possessed of a singular instinct, but many strong instincts. And ego development, I'm realizing, starts at noticing these parts inside of you and making them whole, letting them breathe, letting them express themselves so that you don't have a dark war that overwhelms you. For instance, not suppressing the inner child because he doesn't get shit done. I've done this for too long trying to be successful in business. Also, learning to channel the self-destroyer or the Lucifer seeking peak experiences into positive ambition, into positive spiritual growth. I think of this inner work lately as creating more emotional and mental feng shui in general, allowing parts of me to be expressed while consistently walking towards my North Star. And the best way to develop the ego into harmony, it seems, is to head towards that North Star. A North Star is a unifying vision or project, something that is a match for your inner essence and supports your highest well-being. This starts as a vague dream, but evolves and clarifies as you near it. To return to that quote from Wilber, it appears the self is not a monolithic entity, but rather a society of selves with a center of gravity, which acts to bind the multiple waves, states, streams, and realms into something like a unified organization. This unifying life project or unified organization emerges organically as long as you follow your instincts boldly. Sometimes you must be extreme to make the necessary leaps, but in the end, it is about learning gentleness with all the parts, i.e., starting a successful business requires a lot of one archetype, but living in your highest power and well-being requires a mix of many. For me, after years and years of trial and errors, I sense my destiny. I know I am meant to speak. I'm meant to unite a tribe and teach. But getting here has inflated and suppressed certain parts of me. As I slowly realize my path and feel established as a man, it's been an enormous test to reincorporate all the parts of me back into the picture. To be truly whole is the only way, or else I am eternally miserable or at war. Lately, this transformation has required a whole new level of realness, gentleness, and self-mastery that perhaps I'll share in my next essay. If you want to have real and deep conversations like this with me and others, you should join the Men's Academy. If that's not for you, you can click here for my last video on Fight Club, Ayahuasca, and Nietzsche. I'll see you over there. Peace.